All right, how does this one sound?
Yep. Sounds
Good.
fine so far.
Okay. Does it sound good? Do I need to raise it, lower
Yep.
it?
No, volume's perfect.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, was it you that mentioned you were also a streamer?
Well, not streamer. I'm doing YouTube, so
YouTube.
I'm putting my gradual, slow progress on YouTube so that people can, in a few months' time, look at me and say, oh, wow, it is possible to get better from level 25 to level whatever.
Gotcha. Awesome. Do you have a link to your YouTube channel? I'll give it a shout out in chat.
All right, sure. I will. I will give you that. I'll put it in I'll just put it on the stream chat, will I?
Okay.
Sure.
Hopefully
So
my.
it's warts and all. I'm trying to do a game a week and then I self-review. And one of the things I want to learn in this lesson is how to self-review because I
Okay.
think I'm doing it all wrong.
Alrighty. How many games do you play a week, like not recorded?
Um, about, ranked about 20
Oh, nice. Nice, nice, nice. That's what I
and
like to
the
hear.
2019 by 19s. I wanted to ask how many should I play of 9 by 9 and 13 by 13 just to mix it up and get used to like 9 by 9 for, edge, end game, skills and
Right.
such.
Did you post it in Twitch chat or Discord chat, or where'd you post it?
I'm just grabbing it now. Sorry, I'm a
Gotcha.
bit slow doing.
No
I
worries.
can't do two things at once very easily
No worries.
yet. All right, this one here. Okay, I'm posting the channel there.
Alrighty. And I believe I'm already subscribed to you, but just in case.
Ah, thanks. You're one of my 4 subscribers.
Yeah. Maybe. I know I looked at it. And usually I hit the subscribe button when I look. But I might have also been on my phone, which on my phone I don't care about anything. I don't even know if I'm logged in.
Yep. So you'll
Uh,
see. I hope it's okay. When you reviewed one of my games, I put a video up there.
oh yeah, I
A
mean
Twitch
that's
review
oh yeah, game review
by
by
Clossius.
Clossius. Nice. No, that's great. I don't care. I don't care. If I show it on Twitch, share it. I don't care.
Right.
Um, yeah, and of course the lesson you paid for it. You do what you want with it, right? So you want to share it, share it. You want to give it to someone else. I don't care. You paid for it. It's yours. Um, yeah. So cool. 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 So yeah, this is his channel. It looks like you got a couple more subs from chat. So
Ah, thanks.
neat. Yeah. So that'll get you started. Do you live stream at all or just YouTube?
I haven't yet.
Oh,
Still a bit
we
shy.
just doubled your subscriber count. Booyah! Look at that.
Fantastic.
8 subscribers now. All right. So yeah. So you're a bit shy. Honestly, Twitch is one of those interesting things. You do need a computer that doesn't lag, but Twitch can really help you learn how to talk while you play. And I believe the Go community on Twitch is pretty supportive. And if you're also like live streaming, then sometimes you can get raided. So like I try to raid like new streamers, or unless um, I don't know. Sometimes I just raid random people. So
Nice.
it's good discoverability. The problem, okay. I before I just start preaching like I know what I'm doing. My low experience on YouTube is discoverability on YouTube is hard. So you kind of have to say where are my viewers going to come from? How are they going to find me? Um, and one of the things that I do for raising my subscriber count is I live stream. I also share it on like Facebook and Twitter. Twitter I haven't had too much success, and then also share my stuff on Discord and stuff and relevant channels that it's not spammy. And then of course when you get enough people, word of mouth helps as well. So the reason I was suggesting Twitch isn't just to like gain experience, but also it's gaining discoverability. And hopefully, maybe in a couple years, when you get used to everything and you have a lot of followers and stuff, maybe you can teach yourself, or maybe you can create your own subscriber count and have your own sub button and everything else.
Yeah.
Maybe get your own stuff. But
Well, the
yeah,
main thing for now is it's meant to be a community service because when I started out, I could only find videos explaining how to do stuff that were way beyond my level, and it was a bit daunting.
Hmm.
So I thought I'd love to see someone who's like level 25, who makes a whole lot of crazy mistakes, and then if I go forward a few episodes, I see that they actually get better. That to me is encouraging. That's why I'm doing it.
Awesome. Yeah, so I think that could be really cool. Actually, let me actually go ahead and do this. I just realized I didn't put your username in my Twitch channel, and I want to do that so that way people can find you as well. Let's see. Um, let's just do that. Do you have a specific? I don't know. I don't. Your channel doesn't have a unique URL just yet. Do you have a specific username you want me to shout out? Or just
P. McLean Stone. So my name's Paul
PMC?
McLean.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm highlighting the lean stone because I've realized very early on that it's important to be lean and efficient with stones,
All right.
and I'm not. So I'm sort of trying to speak prophetically about my future Go play.
Awesome. Awesome. So I went ahead and just put you on there, and that should help.
All right,
Then
nice.
just for the new viewers that came, I'll put the post link in chat. Then if people can save that, and if anyone asks about who it is, just put that guy. So that way we can, get a little advertising while he's getting his lesson.
Thanks.
Um,
Nice.
how about a new guy? All right, so I have a new student sheet up. Go ahead and let me know, since this is our kind of first lesson, let me know a little bit about your study habits.
All right.
Do you do Go problems on a regular
Yep.
basis?
I'm doing Go problems. I've tried a few different things, so I'm sort of finding my way as to which ones to use. The
Okay.
most recent one you suggest that I'm struggling with on my iPhone. It's the one I forgot what it's called.
101 Wei
It's
Chi?
called
Tsuji?
Tsumago Pro.
Oh, Sumego Pro. Ah, gotcha.
Tsumago Pro. Yep.
Um,
So I'm really struggling with that because I don't know what it wants me to do early on. Like uh, maybe that's too hard for me.
okay, let me give you some links. So, let's start off. Do you know how to capture and everything? Well, just in case, I'll give you the
Yeah, I
solution.
think so.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I'm pretty sure I know how to capture.
this problem set I'm giving you here first is the problem set I created for brand new players. It teaches you like liberties and then cutting points and all that other stuff. This is like your introductory puzzles, and then it teaches you how eyes work and everything else. Do you know
Right.
how two eyes work?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. And then once you can do that, then I recommend Mark 5000's exercises
Yep.
for beginners. Have you done
Yep.
his?
I've been going through them. Yep.
Okay, so that pretty much introduces you to life and death.
Yep.
Then on in the puzzle library, we've actually been working on porting 101 Wei Chi puzzles. So if you search, if you search this on OGS puzzles, and then you search 101 Wei Chi, you get connection puzzles,
Yep.
capturing race
I haven't
puzzles.
done them. That's a really good idea. I
Yeah.
haven't done them at all.
Double Atari puzzles, cutting puzzles, and bamboo joint connection puzzles. And big shout out to PSL
Fantastic.
for helping me port these. Um,
Nice.
so yeah, these are I do recommend these puzzles, and we're working on getting them ported. And then of course I'll give you the link to 101 Wei Chi, the site, so that way you can go to the other puzzles that are not ported just yet. But it is in Chinese, so you have to use Google Translate. But
Okay.
this has a lot of good stuff. So the idea behind all of this is you learn not just life and death, but several categories. Now, it is very important that you understand beginner life and death. So have you seen my beginner lecture series video on life
Yep.
and death problems? Okay,
I'm pretty sure I've watched all of your videos, but
sweet.
uh, the fact that I ignore some of what you say is not a testament to your quality. It's a testament to my lack of memory.
Yeah. That does. I mean, it takes practice. You're not expected to be able to do everything perfectly, right? So yeah. So this 101 Wei Chi site, it gives you several categories. right? So it gives you several different categories. And this is one thing I want to stress is don't only do life and death, but at the same
Yep.
time, you do need to do some life and death. You need the bulky 5, you need 3 in a row, 4 in a row. You need to know those shapes. Okay?
Yep.
So I do recommend doing Go problems pretty regularly. I recommend a
Every
minimum,
day.
yeah, every single day, minimum one per day. Ideally, you'll do them for maybe about 5 minutes a day, and that's the average person. But if you can do them for like 15 minutes a day to an hour a day, those are really good. So I do advise doing Go problems. But playing 20 games a week and doing Go problems for like 20 minutes a day or 30 minutes a day, I think is absolutely perfect. And if you're getting some game reviews on top of that and getting lessons and watching YouTube and doing all that extra stuff, that's an amazing amount of stuff, amazing amount of dedication. You should improve pretty quickly doing that, as long as we keep you on track of the basics.
Yeah.
Okay,
So on
so
that, is it too ambitious if I've only been playing 3 months and I'm about level 20, 21 now?
mm,
Is it too ambitious to aim for 15Q by the end of the year? That was sort of my arbitrary aim. Is that too aggressive?
5 ranks in 2 months is a little bit aggressive. Usually, if you can move one rank a month, that's pretty good pace. Like
Okay.
not everyone can even move one rank a month. Now the 20 Qs, you move several ranks very quickly, just because
Yeah,
beginners improve
they're
very
easy.
quickly. But
Yeah,
if at the start, if you improve multiple ranks a month, then that's just pretty good, right? That's really good. But if you can just try on average to improve one rank a month, that's pretty good. That's a decent pace. That's not a bad pace. Less than that isn't terrible either. Like if you move one rank every 2 months or maybe 3 months, it's not terrible. It also depends on how much you put in, how many hours you get out of it, what how used to it you are. So like for example, chess players improve faster than people who have never played a strategy game before. So I would say it's more important for you to understand yourself and move at your own pace. So if you on
right,
average have been moving one rank every 2 months, then that's okay. Then just move at that
right.
pace. But the stronger you get, the more you'll slow down. So don't hold yourself accountable too harshly, because then you'll start getting anxiety, like ladder anxiety. You'll stop playing
Yeah,
games. You'll
yeah,
put too much pressure on yourself. For a relevance kind of idea or a relatable idea is once you get to Dawn level, moving one Dawn rank a year is normal. Moving one Dawn rank in 6 months is really fast. So
right.
it slows down rapidly. Like for example,
Yeah,
you can move from 25Q to 20Q in like a couple weeks, but you can if you're really talented and put a lot into it. But if you get to one Dawn and you are really talented, it takes you 6 months to move one rank. So
right.
it's all relative to how strong you are, how much you put in, and how much you're understanding stuff. So
Yeah,
don't hold yourself too much pressure. But I would say a good pace, a good marker is maybe one rank a month in
sure.
double digit Qs, with the exceptions of 15Q and 12Q. And those two areas, there are some barriers. So not every rank is created equal. Some ranks
Yeah,
will be a little bit more difficult to pass than others. So I say that there's a barrier at 20Q. I say there's a to get to out of the 20 Qs, out of the beginner range, and learn some stuff. There's a barrier in the 15Q, so like 16Q to 14Q. There's a barrier in
yeah,
there. There's a barrier at 12Q, like 13 to 10Q basically, and that's the break into single digit Q. There's a barrier there, and there's another barrier at 5Q and another barrier at 3Q to break into one Don. So
right.
there's a lot of barriers. So in those barriers, it's okay to take a little bit longer. But outside of those barriers, just one rank a month is pretty good. So don't pressure yourself too much. I really want to stress this. Playing games and having fun is the fastest way to improve. But if you
Yeah, and
pressure
that's what I like to
yourself,
do.
yeah, if you pressure yourself, you can actually slow yourself down. So
Yeah,
I really want to stress that having milestones is good, but giving yourself a deadline is stressful and can potentially slow you down.
okay, got
So
it.
yeah, just aim to reach 15Q, or let's just say aim to reach 19Q for now, and just
Okay,
don't give yourself a deadline. Just do your best and just get as close as you can, right? Just do
sure.
your best every single week, and we'll see how long it takes us. But if you give yourself a deadline, when that deadline starts getting close, you're going to start stressing, and that will prevent you from getting stronger. And I don't want that to happen.
Thanks.
Now, to answer your questions about Go problems, you said you were struggling with those.
Yeah.
So my advice for how to do Go problems is when you're doing them, for example, for life and death. For other Go problems, it's a little bit different, but let's just take life and death, for example. Life and death comes up in the game when a group is completely surrounded. Okay, so when you're in the problem, usually it's completely surrounded.
Right.
So the first thing you do, the first thing you read, so this is all reading, right, in your head, you reduce the eye space from the outside. Okay? Then you try to see what is the shape on the inside, and then you try to make that shape on the inside one eye by playing a Vita point. Okay?
Right.
Then you try to counter yourself with your opponent's moves, and then you try to counter that counter with the best move, and then and that third branch or that third step is usually where you try to do it. And then, of course, if you can try to counter that counter, and usually you can't because usually your opponent's Vita point is your Vita point, or if you
Yes.
can recognize the Vita point. And then if it doesn't work by reducing it on the outside, then try starting at the Vita point or starting on your opponent's moves. So I'll actually write this down for you. So
Thanks.
for life and death, reduce the eye space first and check the shape. Okay.
Yep. Nice.
And then second, um, check the vital point, and then
I sort of figured out those two things sort of in a roundabout way by doing a stack of them, but it's so good to hear you explain it that way. Thanks.
Yeah. So the second thing you do is check the Vita point and then try to counter yourself with the opposite color. And then
Awesome.
third, try playing the vital point yourself, or see, or try the move that countered you,
Yeah.
and then repeat trying to counter yourself with the other color until you can't anymore. And then hint, if reducing the eye space doesn't work, reducing the eye space doesn't work, try the vital point first. And then we'll give you another hint.
Awesome.
When trying to counter during the reduce eye space, try to play the vital point instead of blocking. And these will kind of give you like little tactics to
Awesome.
train yourself. Now, a lot of people start noticing the vital points pretty quickly, and they try to just vital point first, and sometimes that works. But it's
Yeah.
the better habit, even if you're a little bit slower. I know I'm slower at style of reduce the eye space before checking the vital point. Like I always check that first. The reason is that habit is more applicable in the game. So it's better to try to reduce the eye space first, and then try the vital point, and then try to counter yourself. Like what if your opponent plays the vital point, and try to see how your opponent lives when you reduce the eye space. And then if that doesn't work, then try to play the vital point before reducing the eye space. And then if that doesn't work, then just don't do it. Like right, and if you're playing a real game, playing a vital point loses you points if it doesn't kill them. Okay, so that's
Yes.
why reducing eye space doesn't lose you points. Okay, but playing a vital point does unless it kills. So that is why we check reduction first and then vital point. So it's a good
Awesome.
it's a good habit to build is check reducing and then vital point. And then also really drive home that habit of checking a counter before you just play, right? If you play and they block and then there's a vital point and you play the vital point and they die, cool. But what happens when they don't block and they play the vital point? They're going to try to resist. They're going to try to live.
Of course.
So you have to always try that counter step. And that's a step that most people skip when they're solving problems, is they play and they assume their opponent responds like a normal move, but they never try to counter it if the normal move doesn't work. So always try to counter yourself. And that's pretty much how you solve life and death right there. That's how you solve Go problems.
Awesome. That's a fantastic way. I hadn't thought about it like that. That's fantastic. Thanks.
Awesome. Do you have any more questions about life and death?
Nope.
All right. Do you have any questions about how to study or play in general?
The main thing is review. So if we look at the game that's on screen
Hmm.
and then have a look at my review, or even maybe my review first. So you can
Okay.
click on my own review to see how I stuffed up or inadequately reviewed my own
Okay.
game.
So when we
Because that's
review,
what I have to do, right?
yeah. So you definitely want to review, but one thing that you want to be careful of doing is don't over review. Like if you review with the AI, then there's going to be a lot of stuff that the AI is going to show you, and you're going to be like, okay, I have to apply this in my game. No, the AI is going to be way, 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 way too strong. So you have to
Right.
learn to ignore a lot of the information the AI gives you and say what is actually relevant to me at my level. So
Yeah,
when
I've
you're
already done that. I figured that the AI is telling me
yeah.
things that I'm not ready for. Yeah.
So in each of our lessons, I usually try to give like you goals to work on, and then I try to give you like little pointers. And I also hope that you'll take notes in addition to the notes that I give you.
Yep.
So for example, if I tell you like ABC and you have ABC from what I've given you, but then you also like have some side notes like DEF. When you review your games, you can consult your notes and say how did you do those.
Okay.
So one thing that I really stress on teaching is the Clossius approach, which is to have a goal for every single move. So when you review your games, you're not actually looking on if your move was like fantastic or not fantastic. You're looking at did your move accomplish your goal? Okay? And the goals are usually defense, offense, or big move. Okay?
Right.
As long as you did your goal, then it's a good move. As you get stronger, you want to increase the efficiency of accomplishing your goal so you can improve at the ability to accomplish the goal. But it's going to be really important that you understand what the goal is. So right now, all your job is to learn the goal of the turn and see and notice when the goal changes. Like if you're attacking and all of a sudden you got a weak group, you need to know that the goal changed and now you're on defense. So when you review, you're just looking for that. Are you accomplishing the goal? What was the goal? Did you accomplish it? If you got counterattacked or you died when you were the attacker, maybe you missed a defensive area. So when did the opening to get killed or counterattack pop up? Then you should have played defense at that point. And that's what you're looking for in your reviews is what is the goal? Did you do the goal? And then when you get
Right.
stronger, when you did your goal, did you do it well or could you have done it even more effectively? And then you'll accumulate experience doing that over time. So when you review, you're looking for that goal. And that's what we're going to talk about a lot today is what is the goal of the turn? And it's where am I
Good.
weak? Where's my opponent weak? Where's the big move?
Sure.
Okay. So in your review, so I'm trying to glance at it real quick. I don't see a lot of branches.
No, because I think
Okay, there's a
my big
branch.
problem here, I was trying to follow the Clossius approach, and I
Mm-hmm.
thought, oh, good, I've got some corners, I've got some sides, but I gave him a whopping great moyo,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was stuck with this massive moyo in the middle, and it was too big.
Yeah. I do notice that your first branch isn't until move 98. Uh,
Yep.
your first 40 moves are gonna probably be your first 40 to 50 moves are probably gonna be the most important.
Okay.
The moves after that are definitely are important too, but a bad setup leads to more mistakes. So we want to have a
Yeah.
good opening and good setup for the middle game and a good start. That'll lead to a stronger middle game, and then we can review from there. So try to put a little bit more emphasis on the first 50 moves
Sure.
rather than the after the move 100, because at move like anywhere from move like 60 to 120, usually you can start end game. So if you're not
Right.
even
But
starting to review until end game, then that's not reviewing properly.
yeah, but I didn't know how to review this, so that's my
Yeah,
problem.
yeah. So do you have access to the Clossius approach document?
It's not in front of me, sorry, but yes, I've looked at it.
Okay, but you do have the link.
Yeah.
So when you review, you're just asking yourself, did you go through those steps for each of the stones? So if you ask yourself, like, well, I'll go ahead and start a review, and then we'll actually go through it, and you'll see what I mean.
Fantastic.
So you wanted to review this game, so let's just start a review.
Awesome.
And
Review started.
do you have a link to the review, or here I'll just send it to you in Discord. Okay. All right, and you are white. Okay, so I know you also talked about 9 by 9 and 13 by 13. So the things you learned from the small board that we're going to look and see if you remembered from the small boards is 9 by 9. You want to make sure you don't miss captures or liberty problems.
Yes.
You don't want to
Yep.
miss second line cuts, and you want to know how to
Yep.
block. Okay, from 13 by 13, you want to know the 3-3 invasion. You want to know corner enclosures, and how to play some side stuff like third and fourth line stuff. And then you can also learn some basic end game shapes, and that's pretty good for that. And then once you can make decent territory and kill crazy invasions, then you should be good for 19 by 19. But you also need a life and death for 19 by 19. So at some point, 9 by 9 or 13 by 13, you have to learn that too. So we're going to see how well you do that. And then also on the 19 by 19, you add on bases on top of the cutting points. So
Right.
if we look at the Clossius, or think about the Clossius approach, weakness before big move. So what is weakness? First thing is cutting points, right? Of course captures, but
Yep.
that goes without saying. Cutting points is kind of your first weakness at this level, but eventually you'll want cutting points to go without saying as well. That's why it's not really on the document. It's kind of assumed, right, that there's cutting points to think about. So it's
Yep.
cutting points at this level and bases. Cutting points and bases. That's attack and defense at this level.
Okay.
All right, so we play open side. Okay. And just for my advice is third line when you don't have support on both sides,
Yes.
because it's just easier to settle third line safety. But this isn't a
Yep.
bad move. Like this is just more Moyo oriented. It's just a little bit more difficult to use. Okay, open side, good. He approached. Okay, he approached. Okay. So now it's kind of open corners, open sides are done because we have extensions and
Yep.
approaches on every side. So now it's largest framework. So we just think that black's framework's here, white's framework's here. So who has the bigger one? It's kind of even. So if it's even, we just build ours. What are shapes to build ours? 1-point jumps, shoulder hits, and capping moves. Okay, so 1-point
Okay.
jump here would be perfect. All right, so you slide. This would be fine if you're playing a normal Joseki. Ooh, and then Tiger's Mouth here is a little bit more effective. You don't have to connect directly. Okay. So sliding was kind of a locally good move, but globally we care more about the influence because we should be at largest.
Okay.
We're at largest framework right now.
Right. Yeah, I didn't understand the largest framework. I've got to be honest.
Largest framework. So here, how do I know where I'm at largest framework? Well, every single side has an extension or an approach or something, right? So we're at largest framework. So where's the frameworks? We'll draw like a border between the territory that's unbroken. Okay, just
Yep.
draw it, and we draw through the lines. Blah blah blah. Okay, which one looks like it can be built up? Like which wall looks like it can be built up? This wall cannot be built up because it goes to an edge. Okay, so that one's not an influence. This
Okay.
one can, and this one can. So those look pretty nice to build up. So we draw a line from the edges, the uninterrupted line that's a straight line, not a crooked line like that. But we pretty much draw a line from the unbroken edges of our influence, right? So
Yeah.
this is the line of influence for white. Now let's assume there was some sort of blackstone, and let's assume we didn't have a
Okay.
weak group, right? So now we want, so this is broken by black. So now we want the unbroken line, so it's probably right here now. Okay?
Okay. Yep.
That is the line of influence. It's the line of,
Right.
it's kind of the line of our control. So for example, in this section, you can see that white has control of the section, not black. But in this section,
Yes.
black has control because black has that uninterrupted line of influence.
Yep.
So that is how you determine the line of influence, and it'll also come with more practice. This one's kind of a little bit simpler to see, but let's start with simple, and then we work our way more complicated later. But
Yep.
just the more you see it, the more you'll get used to it. So that is the line of influence. How to play on the line of influence for the largest framework. So after the open corners and open sides, we want to play on the largest framework. How we play on that is either, if it's ours, we build it, make it bigger. If it's our opponent's, we either reduce it or invade to destroy it. Okay? Those are kind of our two options for dealing with our opponents. But we always want to be on the biggest framework. Because if we're not on the biggest and we're on the second biggest, and I build it, and our opponent builds theirs, and theirs was the biggest, they're going to be getting more. But if they have the big one and I have the second biggest, then I want to destroy both because that's an even exchange. Whereas if we both built, they would have more, which is a negative exchange. So always.
So from what you've said, should I have gone for like 016 to sort of push my boundary across a bit?
So let's talk about the shapes that we can utilize, right? So we know what we need to do now. So if it's ours, we want to build it. The shapes to build, the shapes you want to learn at kind of at this level to build is going to be shoulder hits, which is where you play on the diagonal point above the a single stone, a diagonal to a single stone. But a shoulder hit is on the outside, which means closer to the center. This is not a shoulder hit, and this is not a shoulder hit. Okay?
Okay.
So that's a shoulder hit. So shoulder hits, capping moves, which means to cap one space away to play on their head. Kind of think of it like a hat. If the center is the sky and the edge is the ground, then this is kind of like putting a hat on them or something, or just playing on top of them, but not touching. That's important. So this is a capping move, or a 1-point jump. 1-point jumps are kind of like our favorite shapes at this level. It's nice movement. It's kind of like running. It's not like dashing, but it's also not walking. So 1-point jumps is kind of like running around the board. This is our good movement. So 1-point jumps, shoulder hits, and capping moves. These are the ideas for building. Reducing is kind of the same shapes. We can do 1-point jump on their line, or we can play anywhere on the line, anywhere on their line, and that's also fine. We can also play a capping move, or we can play a shoulder hit to push that line backwards, like shoulder hit here or shoulder hit here. Just pushing that line backwards. So that's kind of ways to play on with the lines. If we were to invade, usually for invasions, we look on the third line. So a 3-3 would be very nice. It's very easy to invade. Another option that you can learn is approaching a fourth line stone. So you can approach this fourth line stone from one space away on the third line, because third line is safety. That's the fastest line that makes eyes. Third line here to the fourth line, approach there, and the wider space, the better. The easier it is. So this one maybe is a little bit more difficult because it's a little bit tighter. So probably this one. I'll just mark it with this. So these are the simple invasion points. 3-3 or approach a fourth line. All of them are on the third line, and it makes it easy to kind of make eye space. We can talk about how to live with them later, but for now I just want you to have these sort of ideas on how you can find the moves. And then once you start finding the moves and playing the moves, we can talk about more about the follow-ups. But if you don't know what moves to start with, then we can't really talk about the follow-ups yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of how you play on the influence. So that's why this one's a little bit off the mark, because this one's like, I'm going to steal your base and then make my base. Not quite. You already have a stone, so you still want this jump. And since your opponent also already has support, he could also say, hey, we're not at Joseki right now, or open side, we're actually at influence, so I'm going to go for influence. And you're like, oh, but I'm going to take it through 3. He's like, I don't care. Now I build my influence. Who's getting more?
Okay.
Black, because black's on the largest framework, and you're just in a corner. Like, corner's big, for sure, but once there's stones in it, then it's shared. So it's no longer the biggest thing. We could talk more about that, like, when you learn how to count stuff at single-digit queue, but for now, just understand, play on the goal. Play on the goal. So he blocks, so touch, yeah, you want to stay connected, so you walk up. 1-point jumps are nice. You don't really need to fix 1-point jumps until they're peeped, and by that I mean this kind of stone right here, where it's threatening to walk through you. Then you want to fix 1-point jumps. But when it's not peeped yet, you don't really technically need to fix it. If you wanted to, fixing with the tiger's mouth is very nice, because it threatens eye shape. It also takes the liberty of his stone, so maybe there's a Atari here or Atari here. So it's just better. It just does more, so it's a little bit more effective. But okay, if you just connect, it's not the end of the world. It's better to play bad defense than no defense. But in this case, you weren't able to get cut, so it's over defending if they can't attack you. That's what we want to kind of find balance in. All right, so you're walking up. And then you're playing the Hane here. Hanes are used for attacking because it bends around, and it does. Hanes do have cutting points, but you're bending around, taking a liberty, and trying to surround. Surrounding is a what? It's a attacking idea. You do not attack something that already has a base, which means efficient
Okay.
eye space. So you're actually attacking a living group, which means you're actually doing nothing. Because if you attack something with a base,
Uh,
it's very ignorable because he already has eye space.
okay.
So in this case, he could actually just activate the cut because he has no weakness. And so cutting
Right.
your opponent is very nice when you cut with strength. Cutting with weakness, you can backfire very quickly. But if you have a base, that means you have eye space. That means you're alive. That means you're strong. So you can attack with it. And cutting your opponent is a very powerful attacking idea. So probably 1 point jump, because if they do that, then you just connect. It's very easy. Capping move, shoulder hit, something big. Hane is good to get around your opponent, but you have to think, is getting around the right idea? Getting around here is not really, because it's not a shortage of liberties. It's not a weak group. So getting around and leaving this cutting point is probably not the greatest idea. But okay, you connect.
Okay. Yep.
And now, do you kind of see how we're going through and analyzing the purpose of each move?
Yeah, now I get it. I just didn't have any idea of the that open area
Mm-hmm.
um, concept.
Yeah. So, like I said, the start for you is not to say, is my move perfect or not perfect or anything like that. Is my move effective? Blah, blah, blah. No. The start is to say, what is the goal? And learning how to
Yes.
answer that question is all the double digit Q is about, is learning what is the goal and answering
Yep.
that correctly. And then you ask, did my move accomplish that goal? So I'll actually make that our first note in our notes. So
Awesome. Okay.
first thing you learn at this level is, what is the goal? Okay, when you review, you ask, did this move do the goal?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, so when you're improving, that's what you're thinking about, is what is the goal? Did you do the goal? And
Yep.
that's what we're looking for. All right, so here, did you do the goal? What do you think this move does? Let's just walk through what this move does, and then we can, once we know what it does and doesn't do, we can say, does it accomplish the goal? So what do you think this move does?
Well, I wanted to really strengthen um, that that area of the board so that like I had a really strong, wide, extended base.
Okay,
That was my thinking.
so it kind of seals this area, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can say that this one is a bit of territory, and also
Yeah.
gives you maybe some more eye space. Okay,
Yes.
did you need eye space?
Well, I'm a bit afraid of getting invaded because I get invaded often. I don't know how to defend it. So
Ah,
to to counter that, I, I do extra moves I don't need to do probably.
okay. So invasions, you should never fear invasions, because with large influence, let's say you build this up with some basic shapes, and he plays something silly, and then you build it up. He plays something silly, you build it up, and you're like, okay, I'm building a giant moyo, and he's like, oh crap, he's building a giant moyo. I'm gonna go in and invade. This is good for you.
Okay.
It's not that his move's bad, because if he doesn't do it, you get 1,000,000 points. It's just that he has to do it. But you are in control of the game if this happens, because you're the attacker.
Okay.
Attacking is when you create the most positive exchange rates in the game. So it's the most
Yes.
positive value you can get as being the attacker. So when you're attacking, then you're in control of the game. So the way you attack is, one, you take the base, um, and then you just start surrounding. And then he runs, and then you surround, blah, blah, blah. And we'll learn surrounding shapes as we go, but the idea is take the base and then start surrounding. Don't try to kill. Don't try to kill. All you're
Yep.
doing is attacking in Sente. Okay, all you're doing is surrounding in Sente. Surrounding in Sente is a very positive exchange rate. Now, do you understand what the word exchange rate means?
Yep, I really like your description of exchange rate, and I really stuff up my exchange rate. I give it to my opponents all the time.
Awesome. So as long as you understand exchange rate, then you understand that attacking, they're getting 0 points at a time, and you're getting like 1 or 2 points at a time every single move. So being the
Right.
attacker is a very positive exchange rate. With that being
Yeah.
said, if you attack in Gote and they get a big move, the big move can potentially cancel out every positive value you already made. So
Yeah.
make sure you don't lose Sente when you attack. But when they
Right.
invade, you shouldn't be scared of it. This should actually be something you enjoy doing, is attacking
Okay.
an invasion. That is why
Right.
we build up Moyos, because we want to attack them. We want to control the game. We want to make a positive exchange rate. But if I do this and he does this, and we just exchange big moves, how do you gain a lead? I mean, it's not
Well,
like
that's
it.
right. That's what I did. Right.
Yeah, it's not like it's a bad idea. It's not like it's a bad move. You're gaining value, which is good, but we can gain more value if we, let's say, we jump up somehow and he invades, and then you gain all this value in Sente, all this value in Sente, and we just bada bing, bada boom. We gain this value. What value is he gaining? This? This
Yeah.
exchange rate is much better. Much, much better.
Right.
And remember, he doesn't have this, and you didn't get this. Okay? So
Yeah.
both players haven't gotten the other stuff yet. So you just do all this. You get your positive exchange rate, and then say, okay, I got mine. Now I'm going to go destroy yours with an evasion. Guess what? He gets this. Maybe you get the exact same thing, and then you got this. So it's up to him to cancel out your control now. So now he has to cancel out and catch up to you. So he has to get this. So it's all about this exchange rate. You want to be the one controlling the flow of the game. You want to be the one controlling and being ahead in the territory and the exchange rate. And if your opponent messes up, you just get further ahead, further and further ahead. That is how strong players get a lead against weaker players. Is you just get further and further and further ahead. You just make little exchange rates, positive exchange rates, over and over and over, and it just adds up to 10, 20, 30 points.
Right.
You don't usually just get a 10 point lead magically. Usually you get like a 3 point exchange rate, positive exchange rate here, 5 point here, 3 point here. All of a sudden you're like a dozen points or something, right? So it adds up over time. And this is the idea that you want, is you want to build and make a positive exchange rate. Now, with that being said, I don't really need you to remember how the exchange rate works exactly. I just want you to understand that building your framework is bigger than sealing the framework on an empty center. Okay?
Right.
If there's nothing in the center, building is bigger than sealing. Okay? That's just the idea.
Awesome.
I don't need you to remember perfectly why, as long as you understand that that is what I suggested, right? And then you
Right.
can learn why does it get stronger.
So is that why I keep on giving my opponents walloping great center moyos that cause them to win the game? Because I'm sealing the edges while giving them the whole middle.
Yeah,
This is what I did in this game.
after the extensions are played, then building the center is really nice. So let's say you just keep doing this, keep doing this, keep doing this.
Yeah.
Uh, you already had stones that gave you the edge, right?
Right.
So 2 and 4, 2, 4, 6, and 8. I guess sealed it, but it didn't give you more. It just prevented you from
Right.
losing it. But
Right.
he still has his. He still has control of his, and he's
Yeah.
making it bigger.
Yes.
He's stacking on top of
Yeah.
it. So this is the bad exchange rates.
Exactly. Got it. Yeah.
Excuse me, just had to get a sip of water.
Good idea.
Okay. So he plays here. So he's trying to push into your territory, and you find a cutting point. This is actually a very nice catch. And he tries to run away, and then you capture, and then he's Atari's, you connect. Yeah, very nice catch here. Okay, then he tries to seal. You're like, I'm not going to let you out. And you find another cutting point. This is very nice. A little bit better might be to cut here. And he connects. And then Atari. because now he's sealed, and that's a ladder.
Yeah.
So this is just a little bit better way to do it, and we'll
Yep.
work on this as you get stronger. So I like that you're attacking these cutting points. You're attacking your opponent's weakness. This is good, and then as we get stronger, we'll work on better ways to do it. But this is fine. You're attacking weakness. You're attacking weakness. Very nice catch on the double Atari. He fixed the cutting point because you punished him so many times. Now he's scared of it. Okay, so now,
Yep.
do you have any weakness? Do you have cutting
Not
points,
really.
or do you have any groups without a base near your opponent's stone?
I don't think so.
Okay, then now we're at big move. Where's the open corners? No. Open sides? No. So large framework? Probably blacks, right? So now we want to play on that large framework. And then you play here. It's like, I don't know if this is a good move, but fine. We
No,
kill
not.
his stones
Yeah.
and we make a base. Maybe we're playing defense. Maybe we'll be generous to ourselves and play defense, and we kill these stones. Whatever. Okay, once the stones are dead, we're done. You're not an Atari, don't fix. Okay, so now the stones are for sure dead, right? There's nowhere they can go. They have 2 liberties. Okay, so now,
Exactly.
now if we just give the excuse that you said, okay, I needed a base, so I'm playing killing these stones, so I have my eyes. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Sometimes we can give ourselves excuses as long as we have a decent reason. We're not trying to play perfect. We just want to make sure we have good reasons for our moves. Okay, so now do you play elsewhere? Perfect. Okay, this I would say is good. He had the big framework. You invaded it. Cool.
Right.
Okay, so now you make life because you have a weak group. The Joseki for the 3/3s here. Make sure you learn the 3/3 invasion. It's very important. It's a very common sequence, so we have to learn the 3/3 Joseki. Okay. Pretty much the same thing. Tiger's mouths are easier. So if you can fix a cut with the tiger's mouth, let me restart. If you need to fix a cut, just connect. But if you need eyes while you're fixing the cut, tiger's mouth.
Okay.
Tiger's mouth is better when you need eyes, but when you don't need eyes, just straight connections are better. Okay. The reason is there's co-threats with tiger's mouths. So if you don't need eyes, don't give co-threats or don't give peeps or any of that. Just straight connections better unless you need eyes. So if you need eyes, tiger's mouth. This one's probably fine. I'm just trying to give you easier shapes to remember. Tiger's mouths are easier follow-ups than connections. Okay, so you lived, you're alive. We do our life and death problem. Blah blah blah. Okay, I'm pretty sure I'm alive, and I have to trust myself because I can't just assume my opponent sees something I don't. I read it. I trust my reading. I go play elsewhere. If I'm wrong and my opponent shows me that I'm wrong, then I learn a new pattern. I learn a new shape. But trust your reading. Okay? So, you Tanuki. So you said that you are alive in that corner. Okay. So we're assuming it's alive. Open corners, open sides, largest framework. We're at largest framework. Okay? Still blacks. So pushing from under like this is kind of going to endgame because we're pushing borders now. So at this point, I think we want to just play on the line, invade or cap or shoulder hit, something that reduces, okay? Something that deals with that large framework. So this one is a little bit slow. And then you defend. Arguably, you could say that because A is close to B, I need a base. Okay? You could argue that. So maybe we're saying, I'm making a base, okay? But he touched, you have 3 liberties, you want to respond. Okay, and then, you have a base. You have ice base surrounded, okay? But if you make a 2 wings like this, well, 1, if you're going to make the base right here, then why did you play the top one? And 2, the top one has 3 liberties, and you didn't defend it. So this combination is a little uncertain on why we're doing it. Okay, it's a little weird, but okay. You block your cutting point, you block your base. Good, that's your base. Okay, at this point, does this affect your base or cutting points? Does this move affect your base or cutting points?
Well, his last move at P14, you mean?
At Q14, yeah.
Oh, sorry, Q14. Well, it sort of impinges on Q10 a bit, but it seems that it's pretty isolated. I wouldn't think I need to do much defending there, right?
Yeah, this stone has support from here and support from here. So black needs
Yeah.
one more stone before it's weak. Okay?
Okay.
So right now, I don't think you have any weakness. Does black have any
Okay.
weakness? I don't think so. I don't see any cutting points or groups that I can take the base of. And the
Right.
A stones are dead, so that's not weakness, it's just dead stones. So now, big move. So then next we should look at the largest framework again. Still blacks. Alright, so we're going to push from here. So, okay, we're kind of building, and I guess pushing the border. Are we going to keep pushing the border?
Yes.
Okay, we push. He blocks. We fix the cutting points. This cutting point doesn't work. Technically. Doot. And even if he cuts, that's a ladder. And there's really
Right.
no way to make this work. There's no way to make this work. So technically, this cut doesn't work. So this is a minor mistake. But you didn't know that in the game. In the game, you're like, okay, I saw it working. But one kind of rule of thumb is whenever you check a cut, first off, always check the cut. Second off, if you're going to defend the cut, if you're going to spend an entire move to defend this cut, I want you to be able to tell me what variation you saw for that cut to work. What variation did you read where the cut worked? If you can't read anything, it's better to lose the game and learn a new shape than it is to defend that cut if you can't make it work. Okay, so don't defend if you don't have to defend. And here there's this is another sealing move. Yours, black's is bigger than yours, so if both players seal, black's getting more. Okay, so it's better to destroy both. Like, just destroy both. Invade. I don't care. His was bigger. This is a good exchange. Okay, this is a ladder, or just push to the edge, perfectly fine. He's already trapped against the edge. Don't overkill. Right?
Okay.
If he's already dead, there's a better question. What did you see that black could do that you spent another move to fix?
I was afraid he was going to edge into the corner and mess me up. That's
okay. So black plays.
That's what I was afraid of.
Black plays here.
Yeah.
You play here. Okay.
Yep.
Anything else? Anything else that looks scary?
No, not really. I'm pretty safe from there, right?
Yeah, he has 2 liberties. That's why you're safe. Even if he does that, you just Atari. So 2 liberties trapped against the edge. No Atari cutting points or anything like that. Seems fine. Dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay, so there was no weakness there. So we can say in the review, you're like, okay, I defended this. Was there weakness there? Yes or no? We can play it out in the review. And we can say, okay, there wasn't weakness there. So this was a mistake.
Okay.
So we can say this was a mistake.
Awesome.
Unnecessary. He's already trapped against the edge. It's kind of like J1. It's unnecessary. So another wasted move. So we can look for that in the reviews. If we're on the second line, we have to be doing something special. Okay? Either A, we're expanding our ice space, or B, we're stealing ice space, or C, there's some special Tsuji or something, right? Why are we on the second line right now?
Well, I was afraid. I just watched a video on monkey jumps.
No.
I was really worried about
Monkey jumps is endgame. Are you in endgame right now?
No, I'm not.
Also, he has to be on the second line to monkey jump. He can't monkey jump to the third line. That's not how that works.
I was being extra cautious, thinking I don't want to lose my whole side there. That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
As long as it might be.
Yeah, that's good thinking in endgame. Because if you're like, oh, I don't want to lose all these points in the corner. But the corner is that size. The center is that size. Which one's bigger?
And I lost the game by defending that corner, as it turns out.
You're starting to fall behind. Yeah. Yeah, this is endgame. Like, I could ignore this and maybe go peep you here and then block over here and do something to build this center. Just anything, right? If you cut, I don't care. It's just a few points.
Right.
So I give up this in exchange for this.
Yeah, and that
I'm
was the
getting more.
difference. That's the margin for winning and losing, what you just circled.
This cutting point, fine. Weakness first. Okay, but now you're pushing up. You should be playing on the line. Play on the line, shoulder hit. Just play on that line somewhere and push that border. And this is probably what causes you to lose the game. Did you lose?
Right. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, this one is unnecessary. Are you fixing something? Are you attacking something? Why are we right here? And these are the moves you want to look for in your review.
Okay.
Nose, playing on the nose is very bad shape. If you need to block, cap or shoulder hit are common, or
Okay.
direct blocks. Cap, shoulder hits, direct blocks, knight's moves sometimes as well can work. But playing on the nose like this, playing right on their face, I turn and now you have broken shape with bad liberties.
Right. Okay.
And then how do you block? You gonna do it? You gonna do a 1 point jump? Well, now you have like a million cutting points. So you got
Okay.
to be very careful with these noses. These lead to very bad shapes, and this is a Tsuji for higher levels because you only do the nose with bad liberties on their side, and then you can take advantage of that. But it's way too complex for this level, so I just avoid it.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, the simpler shapes. Okay, so it does look like we're running low on times. To reiterate, line of the influence is what
Yep.
we learned from the game review.
Yep. That's the biggest thing I learned. That is
Open
awesome.
corner,
I'm sorry for not knowing
open
that already.
side, largest framework. Open corner, open side, largest framework. Keep an eye on bases. We weren't able to talk about bases this game because it didn't come up, but bases
Yep.
are very, very important for you to learn at this level. If a group doesn't have a
Yep.
base, then it can be quite tricky. That's how you get attacked, or that's how you can attack and take advantage of something and destroy something. The notes that we have is the first thing you want to learn at this level is the goal, and when you review, did you accomplish the goal? So that's the review questions that we talked about. Line of influence is what we learned from the game review, and then open corner, open side, largest framework. We want to get a little bit better at that. That's what our goals are. And then keep an eye on bases is kind of a side note from this lesson. Okay. And you also asked about 9 by 9 and 13 by 13. I think you're good on 19 by 19. So 9 by 9 and 13 by 13 is kind of like in bonus time if you have extra time. Like if you want to play on your phone or something. If you have extra time. I think playing 20 games, 20 rated games on the 19 by 19 and doing Go problems every day is definitely your priorities.
Sure.
If you have extra time, you can watch YouTube videos, you can review your games, you can play on the small boards, and you do that, and that's fine, but that's extra. The priorities are playing, and I guess reviewing, and doing Go problems. And the priority after that is watching game reviews, and then then after that you can do 9 by 9 and 13 by 13 as kind of bonus
20 a
work.
week, not 20 a day. Yeah.
Yeah, 20 a week. Sorry. Yeah, 20. I said 20 games a day. I meant 20 games a week. 20 games a day. Yeah. I mean, that's how I improved when I first started. I first started in high school, and I was homeschooled, so I had like 10 hours a day to just play Go. Um, I mean, I played 20 games a day, and I improved very quickly. But that was stupid and crazy. I don't know how I was able to do that. I cannot do that anymore. That was way too much energy. The energy of the youth. It's crazy. But if you can do it, great. But like, that's probably too much. Yeah, 20 games a week I think is a really good number. With that being
All
said,
right.
are there any questions from today's lessons or any of the things we talked about?
No, you've given me a stack of stuff to learn, and I can't wait till I have a few more games to try it out.
Awesome. Yeah, as always, just message me on Discord if you have any questions about the study material. And if you have any example questions like Joseiki's or game examples, just write those down and bring them to the lesson. I'm happy to answer any questions, and then we can just keep going over game reviews. And pretty much every single week, we want to find a goal for you to work on, and then the week after that, we're going to see, did you do that goal, or while doing that goal, did you mess up anything else? And then we'll give you another goal to work on for that week. And pretty much every lesson, we try to work on a goal for the lesson, but it's slightly different from the goal from the turn, if that makes sense. It's still a goal,
Yeah.
but like goal of the turn and then goal of the lesson. Does that kind of make sense?
Makes great sense. Thanks very much, Clossius.
Awesome. Now, are you weekly? Is that correct?
I'm
Or
monthly, but
monthly? Gotcha.
I signed up in the last day of the month, which got me a bit of a head start.
Okay, so you have 2 lessons. I owe you 2 lessons. Is that correct?
No, you owe me one more lesson now for this one.
Okay, so one more lesson. So I'm going to do +1. I need to just write it on the sheet because you're a new student, so I have a new sheet for you. Okay, so do Patreon +2. Just write that down. So you have one more lesson, and yeah, just message me on Discord when you would like it. I would say probably. Do you think you'd be free at this time on the 25th? That gives us 2 weeks
Yep,
for you
two
to try
weeks
this
is
stuff.
perfect.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
Then I'll go
that's
ahead
great.
and schedule you for 2 weeks from now at the same time on the 25th. Does that sound good for you?
That's awesome.
Alrighty. So yeah, if there are no more questions, then yeah, hopefully you found it helpful, and good luck in your games, and I'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thanks, Clossius.
Yep.
All the best. Bye.
Have a good one.